We were hurting and aching all over it. Howdy folks, welcome to another beautiful day out here in West Vancouver. It's early June and it is still cold and rainy. Hopefully this is the last one before the summer starts. Hold thumbs. Anyway, in today's video we're going to talk about the West Vancouver Cultural Festival and what it took and what we learned at the festival when we were running the South African Pavilion. But before that, let me actually just run a quick clip that I recorded at the Cultural Festival on the day before at setup when I was still all starry-eyed and ready for the whole thing. All right, so that was the Friday morning while we were setting up the booth and getting ready for the festival. I got to tell you, we learned quite a lot about this festival, and we've learned a lot about what it takes to put together a pavilion, and we will definitely be back next year with a much, much bigger one. But before we go there, let's quickly just, take a step back and talk about the whole festival and how we managed to get there. So some of you might remember that we had the Boerewors Day at John Lawson Park last year. And, at the last minute, there was a whole lot of people that wanted to come through to the Boerewors Day. And we had to get a lot of permits and approvals and all kinds of stuff. And in this process, I ran into the ladies from the West Vancouver events cultural side. Rochelle and Jenna, and they were amazing. They really helped out with the Boerewors Day. And then while we were doing that, they said, hey, we've got this cultural festival every year, and we've never had a South African pavilion. Would you want to do it? And I was, of course, right there going, yes, we're in. I'm not going to lie to you. I said we're in, and we went to one or two meetings, but it was kind of always next year's problem, because remember, this started in September last year. And we've never been to the West Van Cultural Festival, so I really didn't know what it was about, what it looks like, what it was going to take, or anything like this. Any which way, about a month ago, the beginning of May, was sudden crunch time, and we had to submit our applications and get our paperwork in and make all of our plans. And it was touch and go. We almost ended up not doing it. I mean, we were going, shuck, we don't know if we have enough time, or we don't know what it's about. And some of the suggestions were rather leave it and go and visit it this year. Oh, I need to move the camera out of the rain because it's starting to rain. Anyway, so some of the suggestions were to rather leave it and then, go and check it out and do the pavilion next year. Anyway, of course, I decided not to do it that way and forged ahead. Now, we had a couple of plans at the pavilion. We were going to run a photo booth and put you in front of some of the South African places like Table Mountain and the Bushveld and things like that. We had that little treasure hunt with the QR codes where we had posters up throughout the venue with a big 5 and a QR code. And if you scan the QR code, you would get watch a little short video about the animals. The videos are actually on the channel, and you will get the 5 code words. And if you have the 5 code words, you can come to the pavilion and you could enter. So we had that going. We had African face painting where we had Angelique and one of her friends and Maddie, Madelaine's daughter. They were sitting there and doing the African face paint, you know, with the little dots and stuff, which is really cool. People love that. We had the learn how to say hello in all 11 official South African languages. And then lastly, we had the giveaway of the food, the snacks, the tasting. Now, of all of those things, the snacks and the tasting was a big hit. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves free stuff and everybody loves sweets and biltong. So for that, I really have to give a big shout out and a big thank you to African Breeze and Serengeti Trading. And Miranda from African Breeze gave us some jelly tots and biltong that we handed out. And Ria from Serengeti Trading gave us cookies and chocolates and a whole bunch of stuff that we were handing out. And everybody loved it. I got to say, the favorites, the biltong, people loved the biltong. The jelly tots was a big favor. And then some of the cookies, like the chocolates and those things, people absolutely loved those. So what did we learn about this whole festival? Well, the first thing is we're going to be a little bit better prepared next year. It really took a lot of effort to keep this thing going. By the end of the whole event, I mean, Sunday morning, very few of us could walk. It was, we were hurting and aching all over. It's actually quite a mission to be standing on your feet for like that long period and just serving people and helping people and carrying stuff. It was crazy. But I mean, we did it. And to that extent, I really also have to thank our friends, the people that always show up to come and help when we have these harebrained ideas. Number one, Madeleine. Without Madeleine in our lives, things would be a lot harder. She's like always looking out for all of us, and she's always there to help. Madeleine and by extension, Gavin and their kids. Guys, you are amazing. Without you, you know, it would be really, really hard. Our family away from South Africa. And then, of course, Alden and Nicole, thank you very much. You two are also part of that extended family, also always there to help out when needed. And Bram and Helga and Jean that came around. And then, of course, Belinda, my poor wife. She's the one that always has to deal with these silly ideas that I come up with or these things that I get us involved in. And she's the one that has to suffer. I mean, I was laughing on Sunday morning. She was like, I can't move, my whole body aches. Madeleine was saying the same. Anyway, thank you guys. Without you, we would never get it done. So, what did we learn? Or what was a success and what wasn't a success? The tasting, that went really well. Everybody loved the free snacks. We were not we were not prepared enough. I bought 1,000 little tasting cups and we kind of ran through that on the first day. Mainly because I didn't know we were going to have so many things to give away. And then, of course, you had these little kids around there that was like, they absolutely loved the stuff. So there was this bunch of kids that was just rotating. They would always go and get their friends and come and get more and more and more and more. So that was a big, big success. Next year, we will have more tasting cups and be a little bit more prepared. But it's a cost. You know, those tasting cups cost $140 for 2,000. So I bought about $70 worth of tasting cups for it, $70. And that's one of the things with this South African pavilion. We love doing it. We weren't selling anything. We were not making money from it. Basically, it was just costing us money. And the whole idea was just to get a little bit of the South African culture out there and to meet other South Africans and do stuff like that. So it does cost money. Anyway, so the tasting was a great success. The African face painting was a good one. That actually did quite well. the girls were clever enough to put a little tip jar up there. So they got about $100 worth of tips from doing the face painting. So that was great for them. They loved it. Thank you to everybody that gave them a little tip. And then, of course, the South African, the 11 official languages saying hello. That was doing okay. A couple of people came around and I told them about the languages and all the different nuances and the male and female versions and the singular and plural greetings. And, you know, a lot of people, there was a few people that was interested in that and they took photos and that was quite cool. The photo booth, unfortunately, even though we paid like $100 for the photo booth software, on the morning before we realized that the computer that we have didn't have a memory, a Wi-Fi card, or couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi through the phone, and the photo booth had to upload the content to the web. Anyway, long story short, the whole system didn't work and we ended up not being able to run the photo booth at the event. And then, of course, we had the QR code treasure hunt, which was also kind of pretty much a failure because we put the posters up and we kind of, I guess, didn't promote it enough or didn't tell enough people. We had one entrant, one kid came and he entered. He actually saw the posters. He went around, he scanned them all and he entered and he was the winner. And then, of course, I emailed him because that was the other thing I didn't think about. A lot of kids don't necessarily, I mean, my kids never check their email addresses. Anyway, so I emailed him to come and fetch his prize and he never pitched up. So I'm going to keep on emailing him and try to organize to get his prize to him. He's got a nice goodie bag with sweets and all kinds of stuff in it. But yeah, we had one entrant to the QR code treasure hunt. So we're going to have to organize that a little bit better next year. Anyway, we also had the little rare bears, the little stuffed crochet dolls made by that charity in South Africa, the Rare Bear charity. So we had a few them there. That was the only thing we actually had for sale. And we sold a few. I think we sold 6 or 7 of them. So that was good. We made a few bucks on that side for the charity. But that was about it. Next year, what we'll do is we'll probably, number one, first get a bigger tent. We'll definitely go with a tasting again, and next year try and be a bit more prepared with more tasting cups and that. We will also, I think, try and sell product or sell the stuff that we have to taste there, because that was one of the craziest things. It was amazing how many people were like, where can I get this? Where can I buy this? Where can I get some of this? Everybody wanted to buy the snacks that we had there. The favorites, of course, was the biltong. People absolutely loved the biltong. The jelly tots and the cookies, the chocolates, and I mean, it was just, people absolutely loved a lot of those things. And they just wanted to know where they can get them. So we would give them Serengeti and African Breezes details, and hopefully those guys will get some business from it, because without them we wouldn't have been able to do the tasting. But yeah, next year we will definitely do product sales there, because I think everybody loves it. And then, of course, the other thing we're going to try and do next year was boerewors rolls, because we didn't know it, but some of the other pavilions were selling coffees and foods and stuff like that. And I think boerewors rolls will do really, really well at the West Van Cultural Festival. I mean, there's about 30,000 people that came through there, mostly families, you know, so lots of people with kids. It was actually really good fun. It was tiring and exhausting, and it cost a lot of money to put it all together and get it going. I mean, I think we spent probably about, because we had to print posters and we had to get a bunch of stuff, paints and all kinds of things. It probably cost us about $500-600 to put the whole thing together, but it was well worth it if you ask me. Number one, there were so many South Africans that came around there. We met so many new people, and a lot of them were like, oh, finally a South African pavilion, because we come here every year and there's never been a South African pavilion. So that was cool. I mean, I liked hearing that, and people were impressed. And you know, that was really, really cool about it. What else? Oh, there was a couple of things that weren't great. We were across from the Iranian Pavilion, and I mean, they were great, but they had this like giant speakers in the front of their pavilion, and they would just like switch on music every now and again. Now, I don't have a problem if you want to play music occasionally and do shows, because all of them did, all the pavilions had kind of shows. So they would have like the Chinese would have a dragon parade, and the Welsh had a band, I think it was their band. So there were things happening occasionally every now and again, but the Iranian Pavilion, they actually just like would tune up their music very loud, and then there was two ladies that danced the whole time in front. Like every couple of minutes, they would have the music at full blast and people dancing, and it actually kind of became very difficult for us to speak to people at our pavilion because their music was so loud. I think we weren't the only ones that had a problem, because halfway through Saturday, suddenly I think they got spoken to and their music got turned down a little bit. It was the only kind of not so cool thing. For the rest, it was great fun, and we're definitely going to do it again next year, and next year we're going to do it even better. So you all must have a good one. Cheers.